there have been many stories, many iterations of Maigrets. So, may I ask, what was the idea of creating this new world, but also making him younger to allow for some things we haven't seen before?
I'd seen and enjoyed the previous two Brit versions, Michael Gambon and Rowan Atkinson, and I felt they as good as they were, they didn't capture everything that Simenon has. I mean, his books are short, pacey, violent, controversial, sometimes shocking, and once I'd set that world in a contemporary Paris, the other thing I wanted to do, kind not to upset the apple cart, it was like, let's not see, because Maigret is a character. If you watch him in those ones, almost every version of Maigret is the man in the hat looking into the middle distance in a noiry Paris, wherever Paris is shot. It's a beautiful image. And I said, I must avoid that image. And one of the simplest ways of doing it is having a young man who is restless and who can be still, but he's going to be still quickly. And I said to Ben, if you move quickly. We're not going to stroll. There's got to be a restlessness. You're still a young man. You can be angry, you can be upset, you can make bad mistakes, et cetera, et cetera. And that suddenly, while remaining narratively very faithful to Simenon, gave me an entire new sort of raft of emotions that I could play with in the stories.
Now, I'm a fan of Pursuit of Interest, so I always loved what you
Yeah.
did with that as well too. So can you talk a little bit about, which I kind of feel when I watch this too, having a character with intent, because intent is so important with someone like this, goal oriented no matter what.
It's key. But what I love about Maigret is you have a character who in at least actually almost all three films, and it's something I want to try and keep if we keep going. There's a story he cares about, an investigation he cares about, which is in his mind all the time. And there's another bit of police work that he has to solve because it's his job and he will solve it because he's a professional. So in the first one, Lazy Burglar, he cares about the dead guy by the river, who's a criminal, and who he realizes is a criminal, but one he's known for years. That's the case that he cares about. He cares about his family. He cares about why. So that's the A story, if you like. And then you have the bank robberies. And with the bank robberies, we've seen a million heist films and so on. So all right, there are twists there, and he works it out because he knows the street. So that, and again, when you come to the other story with the retail billionaire played by Danny Carane and the influencer Mia Caraha, again, it's a story that he wants to be on and a story that he's dragged away for political reasons and does not want to investigate. And then that goes horribly wrong. So intent, I think it's just need what drives the character. And with the back of this is that Maigret, his real need, he wants to be at home with his wife.
Right.
That's the sort of unusual part about this. That's not his safe place, but it's his happy place. He loves her.
Yeah.
I
And
love that.
to speak of that too, if I can ask, with Stephanie as Louise too, this is a different Louise. She's not just making jam or gardening or whatever else too. So, that same thought I had before about making them younger. They're at a different point in their life. There's a different timeline, different energy too. So, what did that allow you to do?
Just because it's amusing. The biggest fight I had with the Maigret estate was over the fact that the first time we see them eating dinner, I had him bring in a Vietnamese takeaway. And John Singer almost begged me. He said, please don't do that. Please have her cook something. I said, no, no, I can't. It's modern Paris. Come on, he's on his feet. She's been working. He'll bring home a takeaway. And it's right. It's right. And I'm sure that will annoy other people too. And John, to his immense credit, in the end gave in and said, all right, okay, you can have your takeaway. But that's sort of key to that relationship. They're a modern couple. They're trying to have a kid. They're both working. In a dozen, 2 dozen Maigret books, you'll find it'll be Maigret that comes home at 2 in the morning, and she'll get up to making him a cup of cocoa or give him a drink. This adaptation starts with her coming home from her work at 4 in the morning, and he's the one asleep in bed. So it's subtle, but turn it on its head, remain true, but refresh.
Now, the last thing I want to ask is, what made Benjamin the right Maigret? We've had iteration before, we've had different stories, and let's be honest, anyone who's read a book has a picture before until someone takes that place.
We auditioned something like 130 really good English, Irish, Australian actors. Ben had a stillness to him and the ability to be, and he's tall, he's everything you want from a Maigret in terms of his physical stature. He's gentle. You can feel empathy, and you can also he had this really nice angry side to him. So I felt that certainly wasn't just my decision, that he combined everything needed out of this character. That stillness, really key, without being without being dead. You can be still and you can be stolid. Ben has a sort of there's something going on all the time. I find him lovely to watch.